Mike Cortez here, Texas Beer Guide. We're at the Texas Renaissance Festival this year to check out Brigadoon Brewing Company. Not only are they brewing old world style beers, they're also teaching the old world style of brewing. So let's go inside, let's see what's going on. So we step back in the world here at the Renaissance Festival. I'm with Alan Ward with Brigadoon Brewing Company.
Very good, sir. How you doing?
Doing great. So, let's talk about Brigadoon. Tell me about how this all got started.
Brigadoon Brewery was a culmination of brewing and history. Allowed us to bring the idea of beer culture to the world. We set out 6 years ago to put a booth at the Texas Renaissance Festival. It allowed the viewer to see how beer was made, educate the masses on how beer helped the world, and actually bring civilization. There's no civilization without beer or wine out there at all. So we started 3 years ago doing, 6 years ago, doing the historical brewing, and 3 years ago we became a licensed brew club. So we've been brewing our own beer on premises and selling our beer for the last 3 years. We sell Texas craft beer also. We're running the Texas craft beer industry.
So how long have you been at the Texas Renaissance Festival?
This is our 6 years of booth, my 28th season working in some capacity out here. So we got a wee bit of time out here. We started out small, we're building up to be a little larger.
So what Brigadoon does, not only do you brew beer, but you teach people how the old world style of brewing.
We do. We start from our scratch. We do our copper kettle, we'll boil our water, put it in a kettle and let it heat up, and pour it to our mash tun, which is a oak mash tun. We'll let it sit there for an hour and drain it off. We use our silicon timers, the latest technology here, time with. Up front, there's no modern devices. We test the water temperature with our hand for feeling the temperature, and then we will adjust the color accordingly.
So you said by hand?
By hand.
So there's a lot of burned fingers?
No, we had a few there along the way, but no, we will take our time and train our staff. Basically, if you don't just plunge your hand in there, you can train your body. Most bakers do the same thing until you're out of the heat. We'll start off showing them with a thermometer and then touch the water so they don't just thrust their hand down inside 180-degree water.
That would hurt.
That would hurt. 170 will pour off, and 170 degrees my hand can touch the top of the water barely and come off in less than a second. If I hold it there longer, I'm hurting, then I'm too cool to hold it in there longer, I'll burn myself.
So it's kind of touch and go.
It is touch and go, and it's we have apprentices. Our apprentices work here for a year for us, and then they're allowed to apply for a job. But part of that apprenticing process is old world beer style. You learn those things and how hot a water temperature is, how low it is, when to pitch the yeast. You pitch the yeast with below 100 degrees. What is that? Well, the body's 98.6. My thumb goes in real thumb. Same temperature, I can pitch the yeast. A little warmer, not time. So it's a matter of education and learning process.
So tell me about the beers that you're actually brewing.
We brew our English and our Scottish ales. Those are both superior in time. We went and researched the great pain and anguish to my own bodily health, England and Scotland, and visit many pubs and bars, and to visit the libraries and the historical records to historically recreate a beer, taking an algebraic formula. We know the yeast in the water, but we didn't know his recipe is proprietary. So what we did is look at the about 6 breweries over a 10-year period and track what they're buying and selling. Being taxed on hops and grain and being taxed on barrels sold. So at one point we realized this is just an algebraic formula. If I put A and B in, I get C and D out. So recipes for those two are historically accurate to the middle 15th to the 17th century. In fact, we still got an English ale in Scotland and England right now. It tastes very similar to ours. So those beers are accurate. The other beers we do are Black Plague, which is an imperial stout. 11% alcohol, a thick, rich, sweet taste, a little caramel finish to it. Then we have our Dragon Ale, which is our old ale, and we have seasonal. Renaissance Festival has different seasons each week. There's 8 weekends, so a different season for each one. First weekend's our Oktoberfest, which is always a favorite of mine. Then our Fairy Ale for the second weekend, and we go down through all the years of different beers. Whiskey Ale for Pirate Weekend, Pumpkin Ale for Halloween, our Roman Baccarat. Our Roman weekend will be our Hadrian's Wall, which is an Irish.
You're saying there's no Roman beer?
No, there's no beer. In fact, you go to Rome right now, Italy, you'll find that the beers there are actually great beers, but they're actually German lagers. Rome is known for its wine for a reason. Not a lot of grain grown there for wine purposes, for beer purposes. A lot of grapes though. So we don't do a true Roman beer. We do a kind of a batch pasteurization, a little structure with that. So it's like Irish red with the English ale yeast to it.
Sounds
Nice. It's an excellent beer. It's a great flavor to it. Very smooth. Then we'll finish out with our Heather Ale for Highland Weekend, which is a brew with Heather from Scotland. And the last weekend is our Christmas ale, which is spices to it. Seasoned that way.
Nice and seasonal.
Everything's seasonal. It works out well that way. It's a nice little time for everybody. So we brew about 12 beers here regularly, and we'll do some one-offs. Sunday afternoon we're a little slower. We'll get together, do test beers for the following year. May put something out, may not. We'll see how it is. Do a one-off cast.
So, out of all the beers that you got, what would you say is your favorite?
You know, my favorite beer is what time of day what I'm doing. If I'm in the middle of the morning, I want to get a Scottish or an English ale. In the afternoon, the late evening, I'm going to get more Black Plagues. I like to have a nice beer to go to bed with. 11% alcohol, read a book, and I'll relax, drink a pint about an hour. So it depends what I'm doing. One of my favorite things to do is mix our beers. I think our Scottish and English mix them together. It's a fantastic thing. So it depends what you're doing, what you're doing, what time of day it is.
So what about Brigadoon Brewery? Where does Brigadoon come from?
Brigadoon Brewery was designed for a period of a family sitting down thinking and talking it over, and we decided we're at the Texa Renaissance Festival. And we're only there for 7 days. We disappear every year, we come back every year. The story of Brigadoon is that a village was being cursed by some witches. The priest made a deal with God, the town would disappear and be hidden, protected. But we return once every 100 years. They go to bed at night, next day it's 100 years later. So we were kind of that same way. We come every year for the Renaissance Festival to go away. And the story of Brigadoon is a love story. And this American comes over, falls in love with a lady on one day the town's there. He doesn't want to stay in the town. He leaves, go back to America. He realizes he made a mistake. Comes back, the town's gone. And then he realizes in the mist, the Brigadoons come back. And the keeper of the town tells him, we come back for love. So we come back every year for love of beer. And as long as people love the beer, we will return every year to serve our beer.
The things we'll do for love, right? The love and beer.
The love and beer, it's a great combination. And they go well together, actually.
They do. That's how it comes together sometimes.
Yes, it can, very well.
Well, cool. Let's show people how we do.
Sure, let's go ahead. All right, Mike, let me walk you through our historical brewing area right now. We have a copper kettle. It's fashioned, hand-forged, rolled copper. It's also been tinned, so it's food grade safe. We heat our water up inside of here, heat it up to 170 degrees, and at that point we'll pour it to our oak mash tun over here, and our grain will sit inside there in a little hot tub. It sits there for about an hour. The grain goes, water goes in the grain, so the sugar water comes back out. We pour it out of the bottom spigot, put it into our bucket here, pour it back into the kettle, and then we'll start our timer.
New world technology.
New world technology. Greatest silicon technology. If they're boiling here for about an hour, at the end of the hour period, we will then take our racking cups here. Because how does one actually take a 22-gallon copper kettle full of hot liquor, right? Always more than once. Never. We'll take our racking can here, we'll slide across the bar into here. We'll take this belt here, and slide it around the kettle, tightening it up. At that point, we can take the entire kettle and bucket and take it as one single unit.
But I thought that's how you kill a witch.
Only if they're a true witch. Not a fake witch with a
So this is old world brewing.
Old world brewing. This is how you would do it in a small farmhouse, a small area. Modern, or I shouldn't say modern. Older breweries, larger breweries, would have done 3-tier buildings. They'd have all the water at the top, heated the water, and got it all the way down to the second floor. And the bottom floor would be the basement where the beer was aged at. We don't have the luxury of that here, so we have to transfer our water over manually. Very labor intensive, which has been the way we've done all through history. At that point, we pour off into a container and age it for 2 weeks, and then keg it. And in 3 or 4 weeks, it's fantastic beer. It's ready to drink.
So, this is the New World Technology cooking. So how long does it take to actually brew and make this beer?
It'll take us 4.5 hours to brew it. It'll then take us another 2 weeks to ferment it, and another 2 weeks to it be ready to go. So you're looking at 14, 15 days from the day you start to fermentation ending to kegging, and another 2 weeks to 3 weeks after that to have it ready to be actually drank at a reasonable quality beer.
So do you have to get approved by the king?
I do have to have 2 kings here. I have 3 kings. I have the king of the festival, Texa Renaissance Festival, has to approve our beer, and he was a good fan of our beer. He drops by often with his own goblet, which is rather large, for a pint or 2 of the night. I had TABC approval and TTB approval. So I have federal, state, and I have the king to worry about too. And what's worse than that is the king cut your head off. The state and then the federal only charge you money.
And take your equipment.
And take your equipment too, yeah. If the head losing, I'm a little worried about sometimes. He's easy to cut a head off.
So if we find the king and we want to sweeten the deal, what one of his brews do you think he likes the best?
He likes our Oktoberfest. He loves our Wobbly Dragon. He really enjoyed that last weekend. He came by and spent a little time with after hours, and I think we lost a keg or two when he left. I'm not sure, but
And taxes.
The king's taxes. You got to pay penance to the king. That's exactly right. He also likes our Black Plague at night. It's a good, nice night, ending night drink.
And I'm told that Brigadoon can actually teach you how to brew.
We do. We have a series of brewing lessons. We do everything from brewer to master of the day, which allows you to spend an entire day with brewing, to a homebrew class structure. And we do a lot of homebrew classes going from I brew at home and I want to go from kit beer to all grain. That's a big step for all our homebrewers. So we will help them. We'll come to their place and work with them on their equipment. So it's all specialized to them and help them that little step up between I've got a kit beer and I want to go all grain. Because in all reality, all grain, you get full control of everything. And that's a lot more interesting and a lot more important.
Walking through the festival, I actually heard that this guy Merlin, he's developed some kind of mystical computer, they say. How can they find you on this mystical
I have
computer?
heard of this, and we have actually talked to Merlin. He came by from Pint also. And he set us up on this magical World Wide Web. And our address is...
It's not fairy dust. No?
No, we try to get rid of fairy dust. It sticks to everything. You get one fairy in here, it's never get rid of that dust. But on the magical web, we have www.brigadoonbrewery.com. It's BRIGADOON, and then brewery.com. We have information on our classes, our beers, our friends' beers on top of there, and some suggested beer styles and food pairings up right now too. Real big in the beer industry is beer pairings.
What about those Carrier Pigeons Twitter? Are you familiar with the
We're
Twitter?
familiar with the twitting of those. We have a Twitter page called Brew School, at Brew School. And we're also on the face of books. We are actually Brigadoon on the face of books, from the faces. It's an interesting, magical thing. It's a little mystic, worries me sometimes.
Sounds scary.
It is. We'd encourage people to look at the face of books and follow us closely. We will have interesting information coming about our beers, which will soon be available in Bryan College Station, available for purchase. The law has changed. And we look to expand also on the market soon.
So as soon as the festival ends, it's possible to see Brigadoon outside of the festival.
You will indeed. You will see us beginning in December in Bryan College Station, a thing called Specs and an HEB store. I'm not familiar with those yet, but I need to go visit those. I'm totally wonder stores indeed. And we're looking to expand the second
Across the land.
Across the land. To expand a second location in another village that will also be brewing a large quantity of quality.
Well, Alan, I appreciate you taking the time out tonight. I will go back, I will look for the king, and I will tell him great things about your beer.
I appreciate that, Mike. Thank you for having me out. How many times you want to.
That's all.